welcome back to Everyday Behavior. My name is Dr. Mary Ann Shepard, and in this video, I'm really talking to teachers. And so teachers, we're kind of past that first 9 weeks into this school year, and coming out of COVID, or kind of still in the thick of COVID, you may have questions about when should I refer? So how do we know when to refer and what to do during the referral process? And so these are some very general tips for teachers who may have students who have come into their classroom and are still struggling here in the first couple of 9 weeks. So one of the things that you want to do is give them the gift of time. At the beginning of each school year, you want to give each child a little bit of the gift of time. Remember, each child in your class is coming in with a unique educational history. So it could be that last year they were on entirely virtual or homeschooled, or it could be that they were quarantined and in quarantine and out of quarantine. It could be that the children in your class have not had any education or educational opportunities prior to entering your classroom, especially in those early school years. So give them a few weeks to respond to the expectations and to access the curriculum in your classroom. If you're not noticing that the gains are closing, meaning that they're making rapid progress and that gap is getting smaller, then you want to go ahead and make a referral. Don't wait until the second semester. Go ahead and make that referral here in the second 9 weeks, okay? If you haven't noticed that that gap is starting to close a little bit and they're making up some of those gains, then it may be that they need your classroom plus some additional support or some additional services. Maybe that's just the reading specialist, but maybe it is speech therapy, occupational therapy, physical therapy, or special education services to help close that gap that has occurred for any number of reasons. Next, you want to communicate early. You don't want to wait until the next parent-teacher conference to talk with the parent. Keep that communication open as soon as your concerns arise. So in the last video, I said, don't catch them at the bus stop, but you do want to make sure that as early as possible, you set a meeting where you call them or you have a personal conversation with them uninterrupted, where you communicate your concerns early. In the outpatient setting, sometimes I'll have parents come in following parent-teacher conference and they're like, I thought everything was great. I hadn't heard from the teacher and everything seemed to be going great. And then we went to parent-teacher conference and it wasn't what I thought. And so sometimes parents can seem blindsided if they don't hear from you or they don't hear those concerns prior to that parent-teacher conference. I know in your mind, you're thinking, well, that's our designated time to talk about it. But go ahead and make that phone call or have that conversation early so that they know to be watching or be prepared. When you do refer, make a plan and implement it in the waiting. So sometimes those referrals can take a couple of weeks from the point of when we set the meeting for consent to see if we need additional services to that 45 days in order to get that evaluation completed, and then if Christmas break and Thanksgiving are in the midst of those 45 days, and that extends it out a little bit longer. So you want to make a little bit of a plan. Action takes time, and so it takes time for all of these things to occur. So make your plan and begin providing some support while waiting for the assessment or additional services. So what can you do during your small groups? What can you do as far as sending some work or working with the parents on some things that they can do at home? So what can you do? We definitely need others to help solve the problem, but we don't want to just wait for others to solve the problem. And so we want to be an active part of that team and an active part of the solution to continue to at least prevent that gap from getting bigger, if not close that gap just a little bit. I hope that this has given you just some very simple things that you can do to consider when you are working with a student who may not be on benchmark or may be demonstrating more difficulties in the areas of early literacy, early numeracy, written expression, comprehension, whatever that is. And so I hope this has given you some ideas. But for additional ideas, I really encourage you to go back to our series on database decision making and look at that series and watch that for some additional information. For more information, you can also visit our website at www.everydaybehaviors.com. You can follow us on Facebook, or you can hit the subscribe button below at Everyday Behavior with Dr. Mary Ann. If your concerns are with behavior, I encourage you to look at the behavior intervention podcast, or to look at the functions of behavior podcast, or even the not podcast, YouTube playlist, or to even look at the everyday strategies for teachers as resources to help you as you're making that plan while you're waiting for services. Thank you and have a great day.